Okay, so today is Tuesday the 16th. As of today, my song Fall Through has been out for 5 days and we've hit 3 editorial playlists, which is really cool. New Music Friday UK, Essence just dropped. So that's an awesome achievement. I'm very happy, very proud, very grateful. And I thought I would show you guys an overview of this project, of that track, kind of give you an idea of the mixing techniques, the vocal tricks that I use, how I took it from an idea to a finished song. And if you don't know how I started the idea, I actually started inside of a video. So I will link it right here. I think it'll be right here where you can check out how I came up with the idea for the song. We're going to talk a little bit about how I mixed it and finished it. And if you want that little in-between bit where I kind of take a beginning idea and turn it into a finished song, I talk all about that with my workflow inside of the R&B Academy, so check the link in the description to that as well. Let's get into it. So if you haven't heard the song before, I'll play just a little bit like pre-chorus slowly into the chorus. It's gonna sound very familiar to a lot of you guys because obviously we worked on it literally in a previous video, and I want to show you some of the things that I did to kind of add upon it.
Words what I'm trying to say, she made me feel some type of way. I've been acting real yet now cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly, playing games like I'm the homie. You playing but I know you chose me. She must have chose me cause I'm real, yeah. I ain't never been fake, I'm a real one. Yeah, she knows I'm not the same fun. We're acting now like we never. Baby,
Okay, so like I say, it's going to sound very familiar to a lot of you guys. I'm going to start with the instrumentation because actually I really did not change basically anything from that first 40-minute session where I came up with the idea, right? So we had the drums pretty much exactly how they look in the original track. But what I like to do is I'll export all of those tracks out as stems and bring them into a new session in Logic. Some of you guys might be wondering why I'm in Logic. For a few reasons. One, when I come to mixing, the workflow that's available in Logic is a little bit easier for me to understand. And number two, I like to have a little bit of separation between my production and my mixing workflow. So I export these out as stems and I can look at them a bit more objectively, take my time with them, and we'll kind of run quickly through the plugins here. So I put a little bit of gold clip on the kick just to kind of saturate, take off the transients, which is going to allow me to get that loudness that I want later on. Not much going on with the snare and stuff, some EQs, handling transients, compressor, EQs cutting out lows and highs, things that I don't need necessarily, and a widener. And overall, this is generally how I treat my entire drum bus, with a compressor, touch of saturation, a nice little tape, taking out a frequency I didn't love, and a limiting with Oxford Inflator, which gets a really nice sound. I learned that from Disclosure. So let's keep going. I mean, like I said, again, this stuff is pretty simple in terms of what I chose to do to it. So bass, I did nothing. Cool. So something to note here with these plugins is I actually used a technique that I would call like Sidechain Dynamic EQ, which sounds advanced. I made a video about it where I said that it's kind of an advanced technique, but I'm not 100% sure if that's fair. So we have a little bit of compression to kind of glue these two tracks together. We've got the electric piano and the main piano here as just the keys element. 1 to 2 dBs of compression, some warmth. Although this isn't even really doing anything yet, it's like barely moving the needle. But this is really the key here. And I'll link another video where I go in depth onto this technique, but I'll just kind of overview it here. Essentially what I do is I take the source from, in this case, bus 16, which is all the vocals. I take the source signal from that and send it through here so that when the vocals are coming through, this EQ effect applies, right? It only applies when the vocals are there. So this is a technique that I like to use so that I can make cuts that clear space for other things. It doesn't actually ruin the contents of my original track. So maybe if I'd made this cut with a regular EQ, my piano would have sounded a little bit thin, but because it only occurs when the vocals come in, that thinness only occurs when the vocals come through in the track, and then ultimately you end up with a way more subtle sound. So I use this a lot. Super powerful technique. I do this with the F6 pretty much exclusively, but you can do it with the Pro Q3 as well. And we're going to see a lot more of that. Okay, so look, here we go. So the main thing with this particular track that I wanted to try and bring out was just the amount of vocals that I decided to layer in and decide to put on this track. So these vocals, I actually recorded them in the previous video and they were a little bit, rough or whatever. When I export them and bring them into this track, this is when they get the treatment that they deserve. So first thing I do is I put Melodyne on here and I'll manually go through and make sure that every note is where I want it to be. Like, I've been working with a couple students who I tell this process to and they're like, oh, that takes forever, that's arduous, and they don't want to do it. But honestly, this is the way that I get like vocals that I'm really happy with. I haven't found a way that's ridiculously faster which gets the same results. So I just suck it up. I'm like, yeah, let's go through every single one of these tracks. Now obviously these ones, this one and this one, they're duplicates, so I can just do this one once and copy it over here, as you can see I've done. But in general, that's the process. I'm adding a Melodyne and then I'll manually move the notes, not just auto tune. I'll manually myself check they're where I want them to be. And then also you can optionally choose auto tune, but you don't have to, because the notes are going to be right and they're going to be right. So let's talk about some of the plugins we got. This was me actually trying to use the same dynamic EQ with the Pro Q3. I realized it's possible, but I didn't know how to do it. With this particular mix, I was like, let me study up and see if I could figure out how to do it. And I did. So you just absolutely set your sidechain here. In this case, I wanted the vocals to be out of the way of the keys. So I sidechain brought the keys in. This red signal represents what the keys are doing. And so this dynamic EQ is sidechained to that. Very cool. Compression to glue it together. More compression to more glue it together. EQ to handle the mids. I'm loving this particular EQ to really dial in my mid-range. That's something that I really need to focus on when it comes to vocals, because I think it might be a weak point of mine. So I really try and hone in and make sure I know which parts have which mids, because the fact is, when you have this many vocals, they can't all be super present. So that's why I decided to kind of hone this in. And then lastly, I was kind of going back and I added another one of these. And this is the exact same EQ we had with the keys. And I wanted the exact same thing where when those keys come through at that 500 hertz kind of place, which I think is where like the fundamental frequency of my voice kind of lies, I wanted everything else to kind of get out the way of that when it comes in, right? This is how it sounds right now. And when you let the lead vocals in, I wanted everything else to get out of the way of that, right?
Playing games like I'm the homie. You playing, but I know you chose me. She must have chose me cause I'm real, yeah. I ain't never been fake, I'm a real one. Yeah, she knows I'm not the same.
So I A/B'd that a little bit there, and you can actually hear there's quite a large difference where you've got quite a lot of mids that happen in the oohs when the vocals are around, and you put that on and all of a sudden they just clear it out of the way. So let's keep going. We've got the guitar here, nothing super crazy.
I've been acting real, yeah, now cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly.
Vocal chop, same thing, you guys saw me do this using output.
I've been acting real, yeah, now cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly. Playing games like I'm the... I've been acting real, yeah, now cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly. Playing games like I'm...
This is really what I think is the secret sauce, right? After I turned off the camera and I'd finished recording, I had that idea, which you can see kind of lived in this track. The chorus pretty much sounds the same way that I was singing it in the previous video. What I wanted to do was have a collage of vocals building up the rest of the track, right? To make it feel really full, really warm. And this is where you could say I kind of like went crazy. What I did was, in the previous time that I opened this up in Ableton, I'm not worried too much about the amount of vocals I'm recording. I'm just spitballing ideas. I'm just throwing, what if I do this section? What if I double up on this? And I end up with all of these vocals. And then when I get into this session, I can be a little bit more judgmental and picky about which ones I want to keep. But in general, I record a lot. So let's kind of go through. I'm actually going to pick the last section because that's got everything in basically. So we'll take the chorus but I'll just play this full through part for you here.
Same fun. We're acting now like we never. Baby, I never.
Okay, cool. And then I wanted to add some chorus BVs. So these ones are singing the exact same thing. We've got 2 lows on the side, 2 highs on the side, 2 head voices.
I've been acting real, yeah, now, cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly.
Quite subtle.
Games like I'm the homie. You playing, but I know you chose me.
And then here, I wanted to emphasize certain parts. So this is like a cause she knows me kind of throw that happens here.
I've been acting real, yeah, now, cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly. Playing games like I'm the homie.
It might be a little bit more helpful if we listen to them in solo. So I'll show you this part.
Cause she knows me. Playing games like I'm the homie.
We keep going. We've got this one here. Another one where I just kind of emphasize a particular line. One of the only ones that has some delay on it, but in the particular track, there's some space for that because I'm not saying any words. I'll just show you that right quick.
Chose me. She must have chose me cause I'm real, yeah. I ain't never been fake, I'm a real one. Yeah, she knows.
So there's a small gap there where there's no vocals really. I pause on what I'm saying as a lead vocalist. So I chose to put a delay there just to cover in that kind of gap. And then lastly, we've got these kind of chose me kind of vocals here.
You playing, but I know you chose me. She must have chose me cause I'm real, yeah. I ain't never been fake, I'm a
So you've got all of those vocal stacks kind of emphasizing certain parts of the track, combined with the alls, which give like that bed of vocals, combined with the very speeded, pitched up vocals that we recorded in the first video. And altogether, it creates a really nice vibe on what could potentially be seen as quite a simple track.
I've been acting real, yeah, now, cause she knows me. We just got together kinda slowly. Playing games like I'm the homie. You playing, but I know you chose me. She must have chose me cause I'm real, yeah. I ain't never been fake, I'm a real one.
Yeah, so if there's probably one takeaway I could give to you from this video, it would probably be to experiment with vocal takes and vocal arrangement in itself. Vocal arrangement is definitely a skill and definitely something that you would want to develop to be able to create like top tier, top level tracks if you're making your own tracks, for example. But even if you're just making beats, having this ability will allow you to create things that other people would want to hear, right? That's what I think was a little bit of the secret sauce behind this. If you want to learn a little bit more about some of the minutiae, about some of the reasons why I made some of those mixing tricks and stuff, let me know. I can make videos on, like I say, compression, EQ, the advanced dynamic EQ. I can make another one about that, all of that sort of stuff. And like I said, again, all of this is going to be in depth, as well as the workflow. Everything that I know will be available in the R&B Academy, which is like the best course for learning R&B, full stops, got everything inside that you'll need. So check that out. That'll be first link in the description. Hope this helps, guys. I will catch you in the next one. But for now, peace out.